Today we're going to talk about the symbolism of the new Jordan Peele trailer for Him. Jordan Peele is well known for placing symbolism into his films like Get Out, Us, and Nope. I did a full analysis on Nope, and I firmly believe Peele is on his way of cementing his place with the greats of film symbolism like Stanley Kubrick and David Lynch. When I saw Peele had a new film dropping in September called Him, I had to go full tinfoil hat and watch the trailer frame by frame, and I'm about to tell you what I found. I've got a full post on my Substack. If you want more on this topic, it's at illuminatiwatcher.substack.com. First, we're going to talk about The Goat with the Bobs. The script for this film was called GOAT, in reference to the sports balling term greatest of all time. And the trailer seems to indicate that it's a focus of the film, with fans dressing up with horns and a field walkout prop that looks like it has horns as well, amongst other imagery of horns that we see in the trailer. And my instincts go to the most iconic goat in the world of the occult, and that's the one with the bobs, the Baphomet. That's right, the Baphomet was incorporated by the Church of Satan. This was the word of the Gnostics, which gave it a satanic reputation, but it actually goes back to the Knights Templar and Eliphas Levi, who first drew up this entity as the Goat of Mendes. Now, supposedly it goes back even further to the Knights Templar in the Middle East, who were allegedly doing heretical acts such as spitting on a cross, doing various male booty games while worshiping the Baphomet, which is sometimes called the head of John of the Baptist, or reference to the seat of the intellect. A guy named Joseph von Hammer Purgstall confirmed that the Knights Templar were worshiping the Baphomet after they had learned the Gnostic mystery religions from the Middle East Assassin Secret Society, which connects into the spirituality that we're actually going to see more about in this film trailer. Which takes us to the next topic of Christianity. The plot seems to be around a football team called the San Antonio Saviors, which is the first tip-off that there's a Christian element to this. The other obvious Christian reference is the repeated use of the most important symbol in all of Christianity, and that's the cross. You also see that there's a tattoo a guy has that says faith, and you even see a recreation of the Last Supper in the trailer. Now, the other side of this spiritual coin is Satan, and we see his most important symbol, 666. Now, you got to stick with me on this one. Like I said, it's tinfoil hat time. The first 6 that we see in the trailer is when a tape measure clearly shows us the number 6 across our protagonist's neck. The second one occurs when Marlon Wayans turns up the speed on the football chucking machine to 60. And the third one, if you're still with me, is when we see the thermostat that says 203, which could be interpreted to weirdos such as myself as 2 times 3 equals 6, right? It's on the far right edge of the image if you look at it. Now this takes us to the other aspect of why you see spirituality in this film. It's the duality concept. It's good and evil, Christian versus Satan, light versus dark. This is a key tenet to all of the occult belief systems. And another area we see this is in the trailer when we have the rookie being groomed by the veteran. You even see the jerseys have the number 10 facing each other as a reflection of one another in the trailer. And it even says sacrifice, telling us there's some blood sacrifice elements to this film. Now, the number 10 symbolizes completion, or the completing, which is going to be an alchemical process that we're going to talk about here in a second. You also see multiple sets of twins twinning about, including one with a woman that appears to be the Scarlet Woman of the Apocalypse and the end times and the reign of Lucifer. Then, of course, we've got the most common symbol in all of the occult, and that's the all-seeing eye. And this represents the enlightenment or the awakening of a character into the ways of the occult or the Gnostic belief systems. Presumably, our main character is going to go on a journey. And that takes us to the vow of silence. The main character's journey of being initiated into the darkness of the occult requires him to adhere to the vow of silence, or the sign of Harpocrates, meaning he will not share or divulge the secrets to any of the normies, to any of the masses, the mundane, because they are not worthy to understand these secrets. And we know that this is an alchemical journey because we see ritual initiations going on. The protagonist is actually placed inside of an alchemical symbol known as the Philosopher's Stone, which is the main aim of all of alchemy and the occult. It's to unlock the Philosopher's Stone, and he is the truth seeker, and he's on a path to becoming enlightened in this journey, and it culminates with him going to the final altar that you can see adorned with candles, a phallus-shaped object, and in the center there's a giant pentagram, which is the symbol for magic, going back to Pythagoras, and you see an infinity symbol inside of it, which is, of course, obviously about a death and rebirth idea. Which takes us to the number 10 and the idea of completion and the rookie and the vet trading places and passing on the lineage. Now, what's interesting is that Aleister Crowley also employed a phallic symbol called the Mark of the Beast 666, and you can see it's a phallus pointed right at you. Watch out. Now, upon closer inspection, we can see that the cheerleaders that are on this same field have no faces. Why would they do that? The reason is because the truth seekers on the journey, they see a faceless character to represent disassociation. This is like the mask. This is like what you see in Eyes Wide Shut. And what we're saying here is that based upon this film's trailer, I believe this film is going to be loaded with symbolism of the main character being initiated into an occult system of Satanism, most likely a Faustian bargain where he sells his soul in exchange for the sports balling skills. And the duality concept of the Baphomet utilizes the alchemical process of solve and coagula, which I discussed in another analysis for a Jordan Peele film called Get Out. Now, my suspicion is that the process will involve destruction of the ego, the fractured mind alter egos, a death and rebirth ritual, which is where that Philosopher's Stone comes into play as the elixir of immortality. And the goat with the bobs, to go back to the very beginning of all this, represents the reconciliation of opposing forces. It's that sort of duality of the veteran and the rookie. Now, if you want more, I've got a whole lot of resources for you. You can go listen to my podcast, Occult Symbolism and Pop Culture. I've been doing episodes since 2014. You can find all my links at allmylinks.com/IsaacW, 2 A's for double awesome. And you can find a way to get my first book for free, A Grand Unified Conspiracy Theory, by signing up for my free email newsletter at IlluminatiWatcher.com.